What's up, good people? What's up, good people? It's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., the Impact Builder. Welcome to another episode of the Brand You Suite. Come on in to the Brand You Suite. We got something for you today. Y'all know it's Talk to Me, Tell the Truth Tuesday. We're gonna talk about just a couple of things for you today before you get into the nuts and bolts of your day. I want you to be able to have just some knowledge and information that you can take with you today that will assist you, hopefully, to be able to master your craft, to master your organization, to master your brand at an elite level. So if you're ready, let's go. Y'all know what we've been talking about all this week, or this week is only 2 days going in. But what we're talking about this week is where your money resides. Where your money resides. The 5 keys to knowing your money flow to grow. If you don't know where your money is flowing to, then you can't grow your money to where you want it to go to. So we're talking numbers all this week. I know it ain't sexy, it ain't the exciting part of entrepreneurship or an organization, but it's the nuts and bolts of how you keep your organization. And I think one of the major reasons why I wanted to address this was strictly because there are businesses that are going out of business every single day because of this very thing. They don't know where their money resides, and they don't keep an eye on where their money resides. So let's get into this. Let's talk about this. Today we're going to talk about your profit and loss statement. So your profit and loss statement. And the profit and loss statement is exactly what it is. It shows you your profits, it shows you your losses, and it shows you if you're operating at a surplus or if you're operating at a deficit. That's simple P&L statement. That's what it will tell you. That's what it should tell you. And you, as the entrepreneur, as the entrepreneur, and even as an organization, you have the responsibility to be able to know whether you're operating at a surplus or whether you're operating at a deficit. So this profit and loss statement. When you think of that, I want you to think about your revenue doesn't impress you, but your profit does. That's one of the core things that people tend to think about. They think that their revenue doesn't impress you or impress you. Your revenue shouldn't impress you, but your profit does. Your profit showing that bottom line that you're increasing the value of your brand. You're increasing the value of your business. That should be your goal. Whether you're a for-profit or a non-profit, your goal should be even non-profits. And let me explain that too. Even your non-profit organizations make profit. They're in business. The money just gets dispersed in a different way, but it is in business. It does make a profit because you got to pay bills and you got to do all that. But the money that comes in has to be spent in a certain way going back out. So understand that. So here are the three for the profit and loss statement. Here's what the profit and loss statement will assist you to be able to do. It'll assist you to be able to monitor your income expenses weekly. When you have that profit and loss statement, you have the ability to be able to know what money's coming in, what money's going out, where things are going, what where you need to scale up, where you need to kind of scale back, all of those things. And I'll give you a second. I'll give you in a minute. I'll talk to you about what is in your P&L statement or on your P&L statement. The second thing is you identify the profit leaks a lot faster and quickly. You'll be able to identify, okay, this asset isn't doing anything. This asset is doing something, or we're kind of slow here. Let's kind of do this in order to be able to pick that up. It gives you the ability to be able to identify those leaks so much faster when you pay attention to it. And then the third thing is you prioritize profitability over popularity. When you do that, if you're prioritizing profitability over popularity, what can happen is you have those people who will want to gain a profit over anything else, and you have some people that want popularity. They want popularity because they think that popularity is going to bring them is going to bring them a profit. And it can go both ways. That can go either way. If you get caught up in looking at only the numbers and your profitability, if there can be a lack. And then if you prioritizing popularity, where you're looking at, oh, I want to be popular over everything else, then you find yourself not doing well either. So you got to be careful with that last one. Profitability over popularity, it can become an issue either way. Even if you prioritize your popularity over profitability, that can become an issue too. Here's the last thing. It's not producing profit, it's producing problems. If what you're doing is producing problems, then this will show you where you're creating the problems at. Hope that makes sense. And a lot of people think that if it's not producing profit, then it's producing a problem. And that can be an occurrence sometimes. But when you know your numbers, when you know what's producing what, then you can understand the numbers a lot better. So real quick, the profit and loss statement, it actually has a revenue. You're going to have your revenue, and then you have your expenses. That's what's coming in, which is your source of income. And that could be, that could be your product, that could be your service, that could be other income ways that you have that you bring in. But it's mainly going to be the product or the service that you offer. What are those products or services? You can list those on your you list those out on your P&L statement, so you know what you're doing with what products, and you're doing with what services that you offer. And then your expenses. Those expenses are anything from, like I said, the electricity. If you have a brick and mortar, of course, it's going to be the mortgage that you may pay, the marketing that you do, the operations it takes for you to do your payroll, people that you have to pay, the software system, the SEO systems, email systems, rent and utilities, and any other like memberships that you may have. Those are the kinds of things that are going to be on the expense side, because you have your source side, which is your income, and then you have your expense side, which is your things that are costing you that have to go out. And you can look at it simple, as I mentioned yesterday, your accounts payable, and then your accounts receivable. Your receivables are those things that you have, the income that you have coming in. Accounts payable are those things that you have going out that you got to pay for. That's simple P&L statement. But that P&L statement is there to be able to show you how the money's coming in, how the money's going out, where you're spending the money, where you're bringing in money, and you always want to operate at a surplus, where you have more money coming in, of course, than you have money going out. If you have more money going out than you have coming in, then you're operating at a deficit, and you won't be in business that long. This is what gets a lot of entrepreneurs in trouble, is they don't pay attention to this aspect of their brain, of their business, of their organization. And you must pay attention. Yes, you have an accountant, and that's cool. But you must know what your accountant, what they do. You don't have to know what they you don't have to understand or know exactly what they do, but you do have to absolutely know what they're doing. Hope that makes sense to you. Hope you caught that. You don't have to know what they do as a concept, what it takes for them to be able to do the accounts receivable and all that. They have an expertise, but you are responsible as an entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur, as an organization, as the CEO and leader of your organization. You must know what your accountant is doing. That has gotten many of many of business owners in trouble, because they weren't paying attention to what their accountant was doing. Not what they do, but what they're doing. And there's a distinct difference. And I hope you caught that. If you don't, please connect with me. Y'all know what we do, you can schedule that strategy session. We can talk more in detail about your P&L statement. All of these forms, these statements that I have today, that I'm mentioning this week, you can get them. I can send you a template for them so that you have them. It makes it a lot easier. I can give you a list of different, a couple of different systems that I think will work with you, that work to be able to give you the ability to be able to have a strong accounting system in place. Because y'all know I'm big on processing, I'm big on systems, making sure that you have the proper system in place in order for you to be able to be successful, so that you don't have to be one of those companies or organizations or brands that has to close their doors. What is the ultimate goal? Keeping the doors open. I've said that all the time. Keep the doors open and creating sustainability. That's what we're about. That's why we're talking numbers all this week, where the money resides. So it's your boy, the Impact Builder. We'll be right back here tomorrow, giving you some more tips and tools to equip you to master your craft at an elite level. Talk to you soon. Peace.